Okay, so I'm trying out my new phone to use as a camera to see what it's about how good the quality is. So anyway, this is a 2-barrel intake thing that I'm making for my blue Corvair, the turbocharged one. That's where it will bolt up to the turbo. And here's the throttle plate to a Rochester 2-barrel. So that is how it's gonna look. Now these welds aren't the prettiest, and that one isn't even all the way welded yet because the MIG welder was, the wire feed kept jamming out, so I got a really horrible weld right there because it arced for a second then jammed, then arced for a second and jammed. But like right there, I ground that down. But that isn't too bad, except for right there there's a little something, but that shouldn't really make that much of a difference. Along here it's pretty good, except for right there again, but that isn't a vacuum leak. I've already tested this with water. This side's pretty good. It's got a couple notches in it, but whatever. They're not down to anywhere. They're just not the same height as where I ground it to, so that's pretty good there. These sides aren't bad, I don't think. And this is ground down. There's a little bit of slag stuff that, or not slag, but spatter. The inside now, right there, it looks horrible, I know. It wasn't the point to look pretty, it was to make it kind of even out between the, so it wouldn't be a sharp corner, because gas likes to puddle in sharp corners. So that was just to fill it in. I mean, I ground it down, now it's pretty smooth, so I'm not too worried. Welded the studs in, they're just bolts that I put through, and then welded the bottom. Like I say, I'm going to have to get a piece of pipe that go from there to there. This isn't really this isn't a perfect circle. I stuck it in I cut it with a plasma cutter at school, rough cut, and I stuck it in the mill because I was farting around trying to clean up the edges. Then I realized I could stick it in the lathe because we have a 3-chuck lathe at school, like this. So it fit perfectly, and then I cut it a little bit, but I didn't want to go too big, so yep. And then did the same with this, but a lot less. You can see that's where the plasma cutter did its thing, is right around there. So, and that's where the lathe did its thing, right there. It's nice and smooth. But I'm gonna have to make this just a little bit bigger. I'm using 2-inch OD pipe, outer diameter pipe. So, and then because the inlet to the turbo is 15/16, or 1 inch and 15/16, which is like a little more than 100 thousandths, I think, smaller than 2 inches. So I figured I'll just make it bigger, and then once I put the pipe in there, the diameter of the walls will bring it, and it'll be pretty close. It'll be a hair bigger, but that's not going to hurt anything. It's going to help. And so yeah, I made this, and then using the gasket, need to braze up right there, because when I was cleaning up with the grinder, I ground a little bit too far in, and I don't really want to make this too thin, because I want it to be fairly hefty. So, and I want there to be as much gasketable space right there, because that's not very far, and this is probably going to be under a lot of vacuum, so I don't want it to be blowing any seals. I mean, I probably could put RTV right there, just a little dab, and it'd be good to go, but I feel safer the other way. This side, I need to grind down the weld right there, and I think there's a little spatter around one of these posts that's kind of keeping it from touching perfect, but once I clean it up a bit more, yeah, I'll probably put this in the milling machine at school and just mill those down, so then I get a nice solid flush finish kind of deal. It doesn't look perfect, but it should work pretty well. I'm probably gonna finish it later today or tomorrow, so stay tuned, I guess. And like I say, that's the throttle plate, just goes on there like that. The old diameter of the carburetor is actually pretty close to being just one of these barrels. It's just a hair smaller, I think. So I mean, I'll get twice as much air into the motor. And I got a performance exhaust, which will help out my low end a lot, but I'll have to be careful on the high end because it'll get too much boost and blow the motor apart because of detonation. So I'm kind of looking into a simple water injection kind of thing, or a wastegate kind of setup, but yeah. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that yet, but I'm gonna put it on this and drive it and see what it's like. Probably not for a while yet, though. I won't. Probably just put a fuel pressure regulator on it for now and drive it the way it is, because I have to figure out the throttle setup, throttle linkage stuff, and I also have to figure out what I want to do for the choke. So I'm not sure that the choke will clear to the firewall, because I think it's gonna sit pretty close to the firewall. And the choke actually has a bracket that comes out, and then it mounts the thermostat like way out here. So I mean, it comes out a fair distance. So I don't know. But that's just what I'm working on, tinkering with. So, because I figure these are really hard to find aftermarket, so I figure why not make one. So I'll see how it works. Okay, bye.